WrestleMania 41 Night 1 has concluded, and to me, it feels incredibly off just a little bit. I loved the main event, but everything else just didn't feel like a WrestleMania. It felt like a glorified SummerSlam. Some people were calling it an advertisement. I understand that. But let's talk about it all. It started off with Jey Uso versus Gunther, which I didn't have the highest of expectations for because despite what everybody says, Gunther is not that good of a professional wrestler, and neither is Jey Uso. The match delivered fairly enough. The big thing that really kind of pissed me off at the end was Gunther losing to Jey Uso by an instant tap. Like, one, it was Gunther's own move, which is kind of disrespectful. Like, that's like if you had Roman lose to the guillotine, or you had Kurt Angle lose to the ankle lock. It makes no sense, and I genuinely just didn't like it. But also the fact that Gunther tapped out, like he couldn't have passed out or something. Having him pass out makes him seem like he at least was putting in the work. Gunther's supposed to be the type of guy who never gives up. He's just this figure of just absolute powerhouse and just a freak of nature, if you ask me. He's supposed to be this Austrian powerhouse who is unwilling to ever give up in the ring, and he's going to give it his all. Even if he is a bad guy, he's going to go till the end. So you'd think that he'd pass out. I feel like how they should have had it end was Jey Uso could do something a little bit more heelish, or even if it is good, could have used Roman's guillotine as a nod to Roman from his days in the bloodline, and he could have used that. And Gunther's never been in it. Gunther can't believe it. He's trying to hold on, and he passes out, and that's how Jey Uso wins the championship. Other than that, the match was okay. It wasn't really anything special. Super kicks, splashes, chops, exactly what you expect. Some power bombs here and there. There was a spot where uh, Jey Uso tries to go for a suicide dive. The ref can't see, and Gunther has the championship, hits him with it, then goes up for a frog splash, and Jey Uso still kicks out. That was cool. It made them both look like they are powerful, but I'm glad I didn't get the main event because if that main event at WrestleMania, that would have been incredibly underwhelming. Next up was the tag team match that everybody was saying should have been on Raw, and honestly, I agree. The fact that we got the TLC match on SmackDown, but this match on WrestleMania was sad. I was predicting that Big E would do something, whether he sides with them or he decides to go against them and help the War Raiders because he's sick of their nonsense. You'd think that Big E would show up to keep the crowd invested in this match because it's coming after Jey Uso versus Gunther. Not a single surprise happened. The match was fairly boring. The War Raiders came out as an advertisement for Clash of Clans, and the New Day showed up, and one of them, forget if it was Kofi Kingston or Xavier Woods, won by having their feet on the ropes and then ran away with the titles, and that was literally it. It was such an underwhelming finish. I didn't even know what was happening because I was half paying attention. I was paying attention to the matches, but I looked away for a second because I was dying Easter eggs, and guess what? They had won. So great to hear. Next up came Jade Cargo versus Naomi. This match I expected to be good. I wish that it had a stipulation, could have been no DQ. Unfortunately, it was just a regular match, and unfortunately, I have to say that it did not deliver. I know everybody else seems to love this match, love the physicality and the finish. It felt incredibly slow. Jade Cargill, I don't think did well. People are saying it was her best match since joining the main roster. I disagree completely. I feel like her tag team stuff wasn't that great because she was barely even in it. It was mostly Bianca Belair. Then randomly she would come in and do all her crap. I feel like this was not the way to go about. And Naomi did okay. Like, I hope Naomi does more. I hope that you get to work with other people. But this did not make me excited for a push for Jade Cargo. I don't want her to get pushed to the main event. Just keep her in this storyline. Make them do something better. SummerSlam, have it be them too. Then have Jade Cargill after a mid card title or something. I don't really care, to be honest. Afterwards, we got Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight. My most anticipated match of the night, besides the triple threat, obviously. This match was awesome. It finally felt like a WrestleMania match. Jey Uso versus Gunther obviously did, but the other two did not feel like WrestleMania in the slightest bit. This match was great. A lot of people were predicting that Jacob Fatu was going to just absolutely bury LA Knight. That did not happen. They knew how popular he was. I was scared that LA Knight was going to win because Triple H does this thing where he never caps off with a person who's popular until they've already lost their popularity. Then people are happy for a week and then it's gone. I'm glad he learned from his mistakes and Jacob Fatu is getting the push that he deserves. I was surprised Solo Sikoa did not do crap about this match at all. Solo Sikoa was like there, but he didn't do anything. He didn't attack Jacob Batu. He didn't attack LA Knight. He was literally just there, and he was there to be in its corner, and that was literally it. I wouldn't be surprised if on SmackDown they do a little celebration, and then Solo Sikoa attacks Jacob Fatu, or they wait a month or two. I don't really care, but I've got to say that this match was pretty awesome. Got to see lots of back and forth between them. Made LA Knight actually look powerful. If I had to guess where LA Knight goes after this, he probably goes after a world title or something. Maybe he goes to Raw and goes after Jey Uso, or maybe they put him in the IC Championship picture. Who knows? Okay. Afterwards, we got El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio's replacement, Rey Fenix. This match made me really excited because of the stupid build-up. I believe they had Chad Gable say his stuff in English. Then they changed it to Spanish accent, and then they like dubbed it back to English with a Spanish guy or AI. I'm not even sure, but it was awesome. Now, obviously, this match was amazing for the fact that Rey Mysterio was subbed out the day before because of his injury. Rey Fenix had no idea he was going to be at WrestleMania until the day of, and they put on an absolute banger. I would contend this to be, besides the main event, the match of the night. It may have been better than Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight. This match was just awesome. I was predicting that Chad Gable gets on, or sorry, not Chad Gable, El Grande Americano gets unmasked, and then it's not Chad Gable. There's a body double or something like that. And it ends up being somebody random. Who knows? Jason Jordan, I don't know. But they didn't do that. El Grande Americano picked up the win by putting a little piece of metal on his forehead. Rey Fenix came to do a headbutt, got knocked out, got the win for El Grande. And it seems like El Grande Americano is going to be continuing this gimmick. He's probably going to have a match with Rey Mysterio at SummerSlam that he can get back in time. If not, they'll probably do something with Penta or continue with Rey Fenix. Maybe go to Dragon Lee. Literally anybody. They acquired AAA, so if they can get some of those luchadors over, El Grande Americano has unlimited opponents to absolutely destroy. Afterwards, we got Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. This match was not very special at all. I was thinking that this was going to be a contender for match of the night, that might steal a show, even if the build-up was semi-lackluster. The finish for this match was lackluster. A lot of the other matches, too, it just kind of felt random. Like, randomly, immediately, the match would end, and it's like, oh, that's the finish. It didn't help that the crowd tonight was absolutely awful. I don't know how you pay 25,000 seats for WrestleMania in front row and you just sit there and like like I guess they didn't have dirty looks in their faces, but they just sat there like, "Oh, I guess I'm at WrestleMania." Like, what the fuck? Like, literally, you are at WrestleMania. You paid thousands of dollars or at least hundreds of dollars for nosebleeds. If I'm paying hundreds to thousands of dollars, I'm going to be having a good time. I'm going to sit there and I'm gonna be going crazy. I'm gonna be going wild. I don't care what other people think. Like, this is supposed to be a night to remember. This show only comes once a year. I guess twice, because 2 nights. But it only comes at one time of the year. How are you gonna sit there and not even be excited? What are y'all tired from gambling at the casinos? I get that this is Vegas, so maybe not everybody watches wrestling. They're just there because, ooh, there's a cool show in town. But come on, how are you there and you're not even like reacting at all? Which is why I agree with people. WrestleMania should go overseas. I don't care if it's in New Orleans next year. Put it in France for 43. Put it in the UK, anywhere there. Scotland. Put it in, I don't know. Make it overseas. Make it overseas. Put it in Puerto Rico. I don't care. Just whatever the next WrestleMania that they end up announcing is, absolutely do not put it in the States. Because, yes, there's good crowds in the States. You could put it in Chicago. You could put it in plenty of places. but make it overseas. They've been asking for it for forever. We haven't got it since what, like WrestleMania 18. Give it to them. And that was even overseas. That was Canada. Give it overseas. Anyway, back to the actual match. Jimmy Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. The crowd was so boring. They weren't even there. The match was boring. It was slow. There was nothing special to it. In the beginning, it seemed like they were going to have like a real fight, and then it ended up just being like nothing. Eventually, they ended up targeting Charlotte's knee, and then before you knew it, the finish was somehow there, and Tiffany Stratton won, which means hopefully they're ending this feud and it doesn't continue. We can just move on and forget that this ever happened, because really the most lackluster match of the night, if you ask me, or the most disappointing. Lackluster would go to the tag team match. And up to this point, there had been absolutely zero surprises at WrestleMania. Everything had gone exactly the way that you would expect. There had not been a single surprise, and it didn't really feel like WrestleMania. The matches were good, sure. Like El Grande Americano was good. Jacob Fatu was good. I'm glad that he won a singles title, but no surprises. And the main event made up for that, and it's going to make a lot of people remember this night as a fantastic WrestleMania. I'm just so happy. Like, okay, the night was okay, but the main event was fucking spectacular. We go in, it's Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins had an entrance that made it look like he was becoming Jesus, like he's Shawn Michaels or something. Roman had an entrance, the whole bloodline was like descending from above, whatever that thing was. And CM Punk had a band. This match was all over the place. They went to the fans. I believe CM Punk and Seth Rollins fought first, and they were using trash cans on each other and like slamming each other in the back. Then they go near the ring. Roman goes over the barricade, does this whole flying thing. It was awesome. Uh, it was a really hard hitting match. Eventually they started spamming finishers. It was finisher after finisher, spear to a stomp to a GTS to an anaconda vice to a power bomb or whatever. Eventually, Seth Rollins tried to team up with Roman to do like a shield power bomb onto Punk. Roman attacks Seth Rollins, puts both of them through separate tables, and those are destroyed. Commentators have to stand. Oh well, you can deal with it. And from there on, they just kept fighting. It was awesome. I believe Roman went back in the ring, went for a spear. Seth Rollins managed to kick out. They started doing moves on each other. I believe Roman got a guillotine onto somebody, and they just kept going and going. Not a whole lot of weapons were used. I will say, I believe a steel chair and a trash can were put into place. But I'm sure that the street fight with Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre will deliver that. Eventually, it came down to Paul Heyman having a chair, and he has to decide between CM Punk on his left and Roman on his right. And he looks at Roman, and he shakes his head and hands it to CM Punk. He gets in the ring. CM Punk's going to hit Roman, and Paul Heyman low blows CM Punk to the absolute joy of Roman Reigns. He's laughing. He's just having the time of his life. He's so glad that his wise man is with him. And Paul Heyman gets on one knee like he's proposing to Roman. And he, like he's giving him a crown, just like bestows the chair upon Roman and says, "It's perfect. Seth is right there. Beat him after you beat CM Punk." So Roman takes the chair. He beats the crap out of CM Punk. Then he goes over to Seth, and Paul Heyman gets down. He low blows Roman, and he goes back and forth like he's just dragging it across the big dog. And that was the end, because Seth Rollins was then handed the chair by Paul Heyman. Seth Rollins attacks Roman with it, goes for the curb stomp, pins Roman 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins wins the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania and walks out with Paul Heyman by his side. That was the end. This match felt like WrestleMania. There were surprises, twists and turns, an amazing match. 3 awesome competitors. The entrances were there. I felt like WrestleMania. The other matches, not so much. I'm just glad that the main event delivered, and I had a good taste in my mouth before I eventually turned in for the night because it was late. But I mean, it wasn't that late Eastern. It was like what 11:30, but whatever. I was tired, and I'm just glad that that's how it turned out. I can't wait to see what happens on Raw with whatever Seth and Paul Heyman say. What I do not hope is that Paul Heyman starts taking over talking for Seth. Seth is an amazing mic worker, and I want them both to have like an equal distribution of their mic skills. And I can't wait to see where this goes. Is it going to continue with the feud between all of them? Is it going to be like Seth and Roman specifically, Seth and Punk, all three of them? What's Paul Heyman going to have to say about it? I'm just I'm excited for the Raw to WrestleMania, and that's what it should have done. So that's all I've got to say. Tell me what you think below, and I'll see you the next one. Don't rage at the Ring Rager.